In this video, I'm going to try to give you some solid advice to follow if you guys start to build a muscle car or search for your own classic car. I'll share with you what happened to me, how I fell for one of the biggest pitfalls, and also that so many other people fall into as well. Additionally, I'm going to tell you some of my absolute non-starters when you look at a car. Through the process, we'll look at a couple different cars so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Here's the first of several pieces of sage advice you'll get from me today. Don't fall for the most common classic car buying pitfall, buying a project. Yep, I said it, and I'm somebody that builds cars for a living. So many people bring their cars to me after years of watching them sit, empty promises, I'm gonna's, and some days just don't seem to get the job done when you're in over your head. And as I said, I fell victim to that too. Built, not bought, I get it. We all want to be part of the process. We all want to build our own car. Nobody wants to really just buy a car and say, look, wham, here's what I got. Some do, some don't. But are you ready to take on a project? I wasn't. I took on a project that somebody else gave up on. I knew better, but it was priced right, and I saw the vision, and I got excited. So let's go see what's up. So here it sits. It was a hell of a deal. I paid half what the previous owner had invested in it. I had done work on the car already. Couldn't go wrong. Someday it'll be worth its weight in gold, but when? Until then, the closer I looked at it, the deeper I realized I had to go. Some of you guys don't like these types of cars, but this is a Pro Touring Camaro 69. It's one of the best cars that you can build right now. But the more I look at it, the more I've got to do to it. It's got a satin finish, canvas top, everything needs to be brushed. I can't just do it shiny. I can't just run my stock interior that I had for it. I can't just run the regular brakes that I had. Progress has just stalled and the project is snowballing. I fell for the trap of a project. I've got a badass paperweight. Despite having all the resources, space, skill, tools, some of the money to do it, I still haven't got the time or bandwidth to move forward with this project. It's been getting ignored for over a year now. Life, kids, work, etc. takes a priority and there's only so much time in a day. Plus, I got distracted enough that I started building another car with my son. That's how this happens. To that end, I'll give you my next piece of advice, which would be to buy a car that is a little bit further down the road in terms of finished. Don't buy a project unless you're ready to take one on. I strongly recommend buying the best running, most complete car that you can afford. Most people aren't cut out for taking on a full project like this. To that end, there are so many different considerations to evaluate when you buy a classic car. I suggest you check out my free classic car purchase checklist and buying guide in the link below. Above all, I prioritize buying a running car so you can use it while you restore it. If you're interested in more videos and other red flags of what to look for when buying a classic car and how much those will cost you, please comment below with your insights and experiences. I'd love to hear about that. This helps us all figure out the process and understand what this community is all about. My ultimate goal for buying a classic muscle car is to be able to enjoy it. Drive it, go to shows, drive it in a 4th of July parade, take your kid to school in it, teach them to drive in it. All of these things keep the excitement up for the project and the momentum going to keep the repairs, upgrades, and progression going along. Without that, most people's projects will simply stall and sit day after day, month after month, year after year. Unless you have no other commitments, I recommend to most people to buy a classic car that is running so you can enjoy it while restoring or upgrading, keeping the momentum towards your goals with the car. I understand that building a car is part of the journey, and many people want to build from scratch. I understand that. But ultimately, if you buy something that's likely to sit, life gets in the way. Kids, spouse, work, health, unplanned expenses, all can become real barriers towards making progress on your car. When there's no progress, the progress goes stagnant. Next thing you know, it's a month, a year, 10 years later, and you still don't have the car you'd hoped or even the chance to enjoy it at all. One of the most important parts of the process is maintaining momentum and enthusiasm. After all, we're doing this as a hobby. It's supposed to be fun and rewarding, right? The only time I recommend people take on a major project is if they meet all of the following criteria. But 90% of us do not meet that criteria. That's why so many people have projects stalled out in their yards or garages. Whether you have your old high school car, inherited a car, had one given to you, or purchased a project, meeting these criteria are key to the fulfillment of your someday. Any which way, these are the must-haves. You gotta have a garage or a shop space that's big enough for 2 or 3 cars. If you've ever taken one car apart, you can see how much space it takes. It's gonna eat up a 2 or 3 car garage. So make sure you have enough space.
Also, knowing you're gonna spend a ton of time in that garage, I would hope it's either heated, air conditioned, insulated, or all of the above, because you're definitely gonna spend a lot of long nights, cold winters, and hot summer days out there working on your project. You better have some skills. YouTube is a great resource, and there are a lot of books out there, but don't underestimate what you don't know. And if you do know a lot, make sure that you are ready for what you're getting into, because there's going to be a lot of challenges throughout the way, and I don't know if we all know everything. I'll be the first to say that I don't. And even if you do know, do you have the right tools to get that job done? There's nothing more frustrating than getting halfway through the job and realizing you don't have the right tool to get it done. Plus, that's another expense. I strongly recommend that you have plenty of spare time. As my wife has been happy to remind me, every project I go to tackle takes considerably longer than I originally estimated or told her. Perhaps most important, did I mention money? Develop a reasonable scope and project plan that's in line with the money you have or you can budget for over time. There's gonna be scope creep, there's gonna be things you need to buy, tools, parts, etc. So be realistic about what you're into. A failure plan is a plan to fail. Get real, get honest with yourself, and decide, hey, am I up for all of this? All that said, next time I buy a car, I don't think I'm gonna buy another project car. Even if it's your dream make and model, and you know you're gonna get it running and can brag to all your friends that you got a great deal on it, don't do it. Resist the urge, keep it rational. I get a car that I could start to enjoy day one, even if it means I'm settling for a make or a model that isn't my first choice. We don't always get exactly what we want. We don't have to settle, but maybe there's something in the middle. Get something you can work on while you chip away at it. Whatever that means to you based on the budget and the car you can get. Again, I get a classic muscle car that I can drive during the restoration or upgrading process. I'd also look for something that's complete. I especially wouldn't buy a really rare car that's missing a bunch of parts. Those are hard to find and considerably more expensive. So let's talk money and budget. What can you afford? That is gonna ultimately determine what car you're gonna get, what you can afford, and what you should get. As we roll into this, obviously I understand that there will be situations where there will be a great deal, where you can get a better deal than the next guy, etc. This is all heavily influenced by where you live, who you know, and what resources you have. Please bear with me as I'm just trying to generalize the car market, not trying to cite examples or be a know-it-all or be a market expert. I'm just trying to drop some knowledge and help the average person make the proper decision as they look into buying or building their next car. What is your budget? Let's talk through some of what you can buy and afford in today's market. The minimum budget for a running classic muscle car seems to be 10 to 20 grand entry level. And for this, you can get a basic bare bones classic muscle car, maybe a Falcon, mid-year Nova, C10 long bed, classic Mustang, Skylark, Cutlass, El Camino, Dodge Dart, Duster, Maverick. Any of those $10,000 to $20,000 cars might be where you start. Like I said, you might find yourself a Mustang. This is a nice running Mustang. Obviously it needs paint. This guy paid, I think, 10 or 12 grand for it. It actually runs nice. He's willing to go on, take a paint job and do some basic resto work. In the same realm, this is a 64 Chevelle. This is a big project. I don't know if everybody's ready for something like this. You buy something like this for 15 to 20 grand, spend another 30, 40, 50 grand, and guess what you have? Maybe a 30, 40, $50,000 car. If you want to make it your own, I understand. Otherwise, this is a classic example of maybe too much work for the average guy. Also in that 20 range, you might start getting into something like a Camaro convertible. Top goes down, price goes up. You start getting into a finished convertible, it's going to cost a lot more, but if you're ready for some challenges, you might get something like this. This car actually runs and drives, needs paint and everything else, and he's in that low $20,000 range. One more example, since it's sitting right here, is a nice little 67 Mustang. Body's solid, it's got disc brakes, nice motors all rebuilt, nice transmission. It's a very solid car, and it's all there. So somewhere in that 10 to 20 range, you could probably get something that's respectable. Just don't expect to get a fastback, probably a running convertible, a really 100% done car, unless it is, like I say, a Duster, a Dart, a Maverick, maybe a Nova, something like that. Also in this 10 to 20 range, now we're starting to progress up to the 20, 30 range. This is another example of a major project. It is a real SS396 Chevelle, but it's a huge project. So what I'm trying to do is encourage you strongly to follow my advice and avoid a badass paperweight like this. As we move into the north of $20,000 range, I would call it like a $20,000 to $40,000 market. You start to open up options where you can get yourself a nice second gen Camaro. Some of the 70, 71, 72 El Caminos have done nicely, might be on that range. Sometimes you can still find a Blazer in that price point, but they're all starting to go up, especially those Blazers. Other things within that kind of $20,000 to $40,000 price point, a lot of times, like I said, you can get a second gen Camaro. These Trans Ams are really hot right now. This is a good example of a car that actually runs and drives really well. Just had the engine rebuilt. It's working its way through the process, but he drives it. He's not too proud to drive it with a few bumps and dings on it. 20 to 40 should really be able to get you a nice Cutlass, Skylark convertible, maybe an odd year Chevelle convertible. You start to be able to enter into the Mustang Fastback realm. Again, most things convertible you can get into. So if you've got 20 to 40, you might consider something in this range. This is another good example. This guy bought this Chevelle for about 30, 35 grand, if I'm not mistaken. And he's gonna put another 10 or 15 in it. He'll probably wind up at about 50, maybe 60 if he keeps going, but you can really see that he had a nice car and then started to kind of make it his own. So that's what I'm getting at. Just try to buy something that you can afford, stretch your budget a little bit, get the most you can afford so you can enjoy it through the process. Don't get stuck with a car just sitting dead in the water. As you get north of 40,000, you get into what I would call the $40,000 to $60,000 range. You start to be able to get a really nice car. Obviously, depending on what you want, what type of model, it's rarity. Get something like this, really nice Trans Am, attention to detail, nice paint, nice interior, perfect running car, something that you can take to any show, anytime. Maybe something like a Cuda. These are really valuable, great investment grade cars. As you start to get into spending that 40 to 60 range, you might want something that's going to go up in value over time. So these are awesome. Pardon me for everything being dirty. We are a functional shop, but I'm just trying to give you some examples of what you might expect to see in these price ranges. Also, as you're in that price range, you start to get into a really nicely done Camaro, something that's a little bit more than your average entry-level Camaro. Nice paint job, some nice upgrades. To each his own. I know you guys all like different types of upgrades, but when you get to this price point, you start to either get upgrades that you like, or you start to get a pedigree car like a Rally Sport, a Cuda, a Formula Firebird, or we can even start getting up a little bit higher and we roll into something like this. This is a 69 Charger RT SE 440. So this is a really rare car. You start to get north of 60, you start to be able to find something like this. This isn't a perfect car, but this is kind of what I'm talking about, where you buy something that's the most you can afford, right? This car probably is about a $100,000 car. In its condition, maybe 80, but 80 to 100. It's not perfect, but it's a total solid car. Got the air cleaner off right now, but it's a factory 440, factory air conditioning. You can see here, those of you that are Mopars, it's probably hard to read, but you can see it's just laden with a ton of options. So it's the real deal Holyfield. If you go inside, it's got power windows, AM FM stereo. This is just kind of the kind of car you want to get if you can. So great example, I want a $100,000 car. I think this guy's actually going to sell this car, and I think it's going to be 75 to 80 grand. Don't quote me. But if you want an investment grade car, we start going for rare options. Mopars are usually more expensive than a lot of the other cars because they start to get rare and desirable, and rare and desirable is what brings the price up. So this whole range, that 50 and north, that 60 plus, is really where I start to have fun with the cars. It's really like all the cool cars to me. As we said, you can get something desirable like the RT. You start to get into like a Camaro convertible, a lot of the Pontiacs, either a GTO or in this case, this one's a Le Mans. And then a lot of our cool 50s cars. So this is a 58 Impala. Notice all the bright trim work. We're gonna look at this Impala and this 57 Chevy. Two things. One, I could do this all just on video stuff that's like static images off the internet, but I like to kind of show you what we're working with here and kind of share a real experience with you. But the other thing I'm trying to show you is about projects and about buying the right car is when these cars are like this and they start to get more rare and they have a lot of trim, make sure you're buying a car that is all there and complete. For example, if I was buying a 57 Chevy, I don't think I'd want to repaint it, because if paint is 20 or 30 grand to do a paint job, what does it cost to take all of this trim off the car, re-chrome it, repolish it, redo it? So as we talk about not getting stuck in that pitfall of a project car, buy something nice, buy the most thing you can afford. It's going to come down to how you're going to use the car. So if you want kind of a classic collector, really neat events car, a lot of guys are going to get into these classics. I start to get into the muscle cars because I like to be able to drive my cars. To me, it's about driving the cars and it's about the enjoyment. You notice I'm saying that. It's fun to build the cars. They're built to be driven, and I'm driven to build, and I want to keep you that way too. So you start getting into like a Camaro convertible, you get a nice 69 Camaro, traditional muscle car, the GTX. I mean, these are so much cooler than a car that's just sitting in the garage, right? I mean, get out and enjoy these things. We were just talking about that 57 out there. We're saying that's at least a $50,000 car as a rule. But if you want a car that's done, and I'm saying buy the most you can, this guy just bought this 54 recently, and it's a clean car. And he paid like 30, I think about 30 grand for it. Obviously, we're helping him do a few things. But for about 30, 35 grand, he's gonna have a really, really nice car. He wanted a 57, ironically, originally, but he got something that's probably just as cool. So be open to whatever's out there, right? I know we all set out for something, but just really think about the process, what kind of car I want, and what kind of car I might settle for or be happy with, I guess. We don't want to settle, but let's be happy. Obviously, the more money you spend, the more car you can get. You start getting closer to 100 grand, guys start getting into a lot of these pro touring type cars. I know a lot of you guys are purists and like traditional cars, but in terms of usability, drivability, miles per mile, consider maybe something that you can actually enjoy. It used to be you had to have an all original car that was original, rare, desirable for it to be worth money. Now you're starting to see cars that have nice upgrades done to them, classy, and those are starting to be worth a lot of money. Maybe kind of like a reverse bell curve, like a fishbowl, a car really rare, desirable, worth money, a car done well with tasteful upgrades, also worth a lot of money when done. So put some money in it, keep it original, whatever you want. Different strokes for different folks, but just understand they're all worth money, and just really do what you think is what you want. Get the most car you can for the buck. Welcome to the game. The muscle car market, the classic car game, has really gone crazy over the last 10 or 20 years, specifically the last 5 to 10. It's always been a hot deal. Everybody's always been into cars. They're kind of part of who we are. They're so iconic, American classic type things. They're so emotional, they're so personal. Just make sure as you get into the game, you're really thoughtful about what kind of car you want to get. But don't let your heart get the best of you. Make good judgment. The things I say to stay away from, cars that have a lot of rust, unless you're a metal fabricator, be really wary of rust, bad hack job wiring. Obviously, we want to make sure it's got a clear title. Does the seller seem trustworthy? Go see it in person if you can, always. I totally say you got to do that. So there's so many different things to worry about when you're buying a car. We'll talk more about that in other videos. I think a lot of you will probably chime in the comments below. Ultimately, my goal here is just really to say, hey, get in the game, get yourself a car, get your car out of the garage and back on the road if you can. And if you're gonna build a car, if you're gonna buy a car, they're meant to be driven. I wanna see you stay driven to build. I want you to enjoy the process. If you really wanna build a car, I understand that's a valid option, but just don't become another owner living on pipe dreams and Sundays. Hopefully this helps you get a little better insight into what it takes to buy and or complete a classic car. I'm lucky I get to both build my project car that is sitting, drive my wife's convertible Camaro, and enjoy test driving and QCing customer cars on the daily. So just don't get stuck in your garage. Live the dream. Enjoy your car.